Welcome to Celebrity Interviews with Paul. Today I have with me Coleman Yoakum. Coleman is the Executive Director of the Micah 6 community in Pontiac, Lutheran Church of the Master. Of course, we've been working with them quite a bit. We take meals out to the congregation out there that's growing and connected to the community, and have helped in lots of different ways with their Summer Slam, and are building up health kits for their Summer Slam through Amazon this summer because of COVID. But hi, Coleman. Great to have you with us.
Don't forget the Mighty Gobbler.
The Mighty Gobbler, that's right. That's right. A big chunk of our proceeds have gone to help out the Micah 6 community. What was it, $5,000-$6,000 we gave you this year?
Yes, yeah, 5,000.
Yeah. That was amazing and wonderful to be able to do. We'll know about this fall. I wouldn't count on $5,000 coming out of that race this fall, Coleman.
I mean, running is a social distance activity, mostly for me because I'm in the back.
There you go. Well, if you're in the front, it can be socially distant too. It's
That's
all those
true.
people in the middle that are the problem.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, well, we'll see. Nothing is on solid ground these days. But and speaking of which, how's COVID treating you? How's your experience and all that with quarantine and stuff?
So, in our neighborhood, so in March, really, when everything started slowly closing down, I am one of these extroverts who saw the writing on the wall and felt very concerned that I would be alone for a very long time. And so instead of that, I said, we need to work harder and do more things in the neighborhood and help a lot of our neighbors. And so we've been doing produce boxes, so building produce boxes and sharing them with people in our neighborhood. And so that has kept us busy and kept me out and kept me working and doing things. So I have not had the brunt of the social distance shelter in place that a lot of people have had.
But you have now. We were talking earlier before this, as we were kind of prepping. Mm-hmm. You do have a new daughter.
Yes, and this is I say this a lot, and I know that this has been awful for a lot of people who have lost their jobs, and the 100,000 people who have lost their lives, and all the people who are connected to them who have lost loved ones. Fully recognizing that this is not a usual reaction, is that this has been really good for me and my family. My wife had our daughter Caroline at the end of January, so January 24th. She was supposed to go back to work, and on the day she was supposed to go back, the restaurant closed. And so my wife first had maternity leave and then has been off because of COVID this whole time. And we've just been home with our newborn and hanging out and seeing her grow and do weird things and funny things. And we've both been around for all of that. And that has been a very strange blessing and a very hard time for a lot of other people.
I can tell you, I've done a bunch of these interviews with folks, Coleman, and I would say don't feel guilty about that blessing, because many people in the midst, even people, I've interviewed people who've had COVID, I've interviewed people who've had spouses lose jobs, and we've all seen the negative side. Obviously, this is a horrible, horrible time in lots of different ways. But I will say, one of the universals I hear is families, and mine included, like, appreciating that we don't have 87 things to go to so we can sit down for dinner together.
Right.
Appreciating that we can play cards at night together, and things like that. And so I guess I would say, like, yeah, that's a unique experience, but it's not as unique as you realize.
That's true. And I was talking this morning in the garden with a couple of our volunteers who next week starts up sports. All their kids' sports have started again, and they're already getting soccer and baseball and early lacrosse practice and they and almost where this is the water we swim in most of the time is the busyness. Everyone I feel like is dreading this tidal wave of busyness that's coming back. And so it'll be interesting to see how if people change, what they change, if they pick up less.
Yeah, it's hard to know. I have a feeling we're just going to get right back into it, but
yeah,
at least it's summer, so there's a little bit of transition for us.
Right.
You talked about giving away food boxes. How many of you guys are giving away at Sprout?
We are up to about 6,500.
That is awesome.
between March 15th and now, about 6,500 boxes, and that's
That's
through
phenomenal.
partnerships with Oakland University, with Lighthouse, with a couple of other smaller organizations. A lot of building boxes that we hand to other organizations who have strong relationships with people in their community and that they work with, and they deliver these boxes for us to their clients. But yeah, coming through our store, 6,500.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Congratulations. Well,
Hey.
what have you seen the impacts kind of in your neighborhood in terms of COVID-19 and the pandemic and that?
It's been, I think, the most immediate thing and surprising thing for a lot of our families in the neighborhood has been their kids home from school. That a lot of them went on spring break and never went back.
Right.
And so the kids in the neighborhood have been in the neighborhood this whole time, where they would normally be in school, which means that's a lot more meals that parents are responsible for. And normally their kids are eating breakfast and lunch at school and they're responsible for dinner. And now they're on the hook for all of them. And that has been a struggle for some of our neighbors. And so that was, we jumped in pretty quickly on a pretty major partnership initiative to get food to as many people as we could on a regular basis, with predictable things that are coming in that food box, so that parents and families in the neighborhood can do a better job of planning what they're doing and how they're feeding their families.
Okay. Okay. Have you seen much incidence of COVID-19 in your community? That gone through or no?
That it's very strange. I think the last count, I should have looked at the numbers before I jumped on, but we've had about 175 cases in my zip code,
Okay.
and a number of deaths. I think maybe 17 deaths in my zip
Mm-hmm.
code, and we haven't known any of them.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and we've had a couple of neighbors and my neighbors are the worst at social distancing. They
Okay.
they want to hang out. They're on the stoop of their porch. My neighbors love to hug and hang out and party late. And so, we had one neighbor, we'll call him Marcus, who was inviting everybody to his house in mid-March for a bonfire because, COVID-19 can't live in the heat. So
Right. Right. Of course
everybody
not.
should come to my house for a bonfire. So we don't have a whole lot of neighbors who have, I think, adjusted their social distancing schedule. We have had a couple of neighbors who have reported that they got it.
Okay.
Of course, after hanging out with us, hugging us, seeing, and so,
Bless their hearts.
yeah. So, we have Miss Ann who, brought us food and stood on the porch and talked for a long time. And then, the next day called and said, the doctor said I might have COVID. A touch of the COVID is what.
A touch of the COVID.
Yes. And so we're like, well, great. Like, we just shared a meal on the porch. You sat with us. You sat across the table from our kid.
Right.
Like having a kid just changes everything about how you
You
interpret
think?
everything in the world. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, so
Yeah.
we've had a couple of people say, "Oh, actually, I'm sick," or "I think I might be sick," or "I spent the weekend with my aunt and she just got diagnosed with COVID, so I might have it too." And so, that sort of stuff has happened, but we haven't known anybody who's been hard impacted by it.
Okay. Okay. Well, I understand you. I just learned as we prepared for this that you guys have some big news to announce at the Micah 6 community.
Yes, and if this is airing on Monday, it's
This is
safe.
Monday.
All right.
Well, not really, but it'll be Monday.
It'll be Monday. We were one of two recipients this year for the Impact 100 Metro Detroit grant, which means that we were awarded this morning $100,000 to
That's
go
amazing.
toward our gardening
Congratulations.
projects, to go toward our Webster Community Center project, build us a new greenhouse, to be able to grow things all year long, which is really exciting and really useful here in Michigan.
Yeah.
So that is, that's new news. It's very exciting.
Wow. Congratulations. That's exciting. It'd be fun to figure out how to spend that money and have a difference, make a difference in your community. You
Yes.
got and now you have your summer interns. So you, in terms of your summer program, is it can it be business as usual? How is it going to be different this summer?
So many of our interns come hearing the work that we do with kids and
Mm-hmm.
getting very excited about that. We love kids, want to come and do all that. And, we were doing a field trip every week and then a week-long summer camp at the end of summer.
Mm-hmm.
but all the places we go are closed. So
Right.
the DIA and the Detroit Historical Museum and a lot of the places that we love to take our kids are all closed right now because of COVID. And so they got here, and we've been communicating with them and letting them know ahead of time for sure
Sure.
that things were changing. But they got here, and we just got back from our retreat where we said, okay, everything kind of, what we thought we were doing, we're crumpling that up, we're throwing it in the trash can. So what are we doing? And so we had a very good weekend, planning retreat, just talking about what's next, what's still available, what's still an option. And we had a good group of interns this year. Sometimes you don't know what you're going to get. We interview them and they send in
Right.
applications and all that stuff, but you don't know. But
Right.
this group is awesome and they work really well together. And so, they're just knocking out projects right now, which has been really cool.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, that's exciting. Good for you.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for the work you do in Pontiac, the feeding ministries, the caring ministries, and really building community, and helping to revitalize that neighborhood in Pontiac. And it's going to be so exciting. We see the Webster project fulfilled. That's where an entire elementary school that's going to become a community center and a micro place for businesses to begin, entrepreneurs to be able to have resources. There'll be a church plant growing out of it that we're excited at Lutheran Church of the Master to be a part of. So thank you for all you do. And you probably have kind of already answered this question, but the last question I always like to ask people in the midst of this is where do you find joy?
Where do I find joy? So, and I'm gonna parlay this into a thank you as well. I mean, thanks for LCM and all the support you guys give us and like people you send us and the encouragement. You've got some world-class encouragers in your congregation, and they hit us up every once in a while, and God does really cool things where he lines up encouragement and discouragement at the same time to really intercept each other and lift each other up. So that's been good. Joy right now is so often we think we're here for our neighbors, and we are, and that's what we do. But that there are also so many people who get joy and who are fulfilled by volunteering and by being with us. Since this thing started, we have two volunteers, Kathy and Mike, who are just rock stars, and was probably isn't very responsible of us, but they're in their 70s, and they're hustlers, and they move, and they said we just can't sit inside or we're going to lose our minds, and they are at every produce box build, they are at every handout, they are at every gardening day we have. They're putting in as many hours at this thing as most of our teammates. They are
That's
there,
awesome.
and this has been a thing that has fulfilled them and sustained them through this, virus. And
Hmm.
we didn't move into this neighborhood thinking, we're gonna have this great ministry to 70-year-olds who need to be active and outside and engaged and doing something bigger than themselves during a virus
Right.
8 years from now. But we have been, and that's been really cool. They encourage me and keep me going a lot of days when I'm really tired.
Hmm.
So they've been pretty incredible. And we didn't expect that from folks who, right before this virus, like we didn't even know either one of them very well, but they
Wow.
just
That's
believed in it,
beautiful.
showed up, and worked.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your ministry. Thank you for your witness. Thank you for the joy that you find in the world and in the life and the joy you bring. And enjoy the time with your daughter. My kids are teenagers. It doesn't take long.
Well, yeah, if she was here, I'd hold her up as a prop, but she is napping, and you do not disturb.
No, no, no. Don't wake a sleeping baby.
No,
Absolutely
no,
not. No, no,
nope.
no. All right. Well, thank you, Coleman. Take care. Blessings to
Thank you
you.
so much.